For today, we're going to be still combining like terms, except for now we're going to add the distributive property in there, so we have an extra step. So at the top here, I have an integer operations review. So we need to remember that when we have a negative number and we're going to multiply it or divide it by another negative, we're going to have a positive. And when we have a negative multiplied or divided by a positive, we're going to be left with a negative. And then also with adding and subtracting, you have to pay attention to the sign with the largest number, and that's the sign that your answer will have. So for instance, if you have 2 minus 3, you subtract them, big minus little, so 3 minus 2 is 1, but then you go back to your problem in which number was larger. Well, the 3 is larger, and that 3 has that minus sign, which is really a negative, and so then your answer would be negative. So again, the adding and subtracting, as you know, is a little more difficult than the multiplying and dividing rules. The distributive property is what we're adding that's new today. So if we have a number outside, like that blue A, a set of parentheses, then you distribute it and you multiply it by what's inside of the parentheses. I'm going to take that and I'm going to multiply it by B. So A times B would look like that. And then I'm going to multiply it by the C as well. A times C would give us AC. And both the A and the C are positive, so that's why this plus sign is there. It's plus AC. So then from there, if you can combine like terms, then you do so. Okay, so that's what these steps say. Step number 1, distribute. Then step number 2 is to combine your like terms. So for example here, we have 2 times the quantity of x minus 3. So I have to distribute this 2. So I have to do 2 times x. We just write 2x. And then 2 times this 3 is 6, but 2 is positive and this 3 is negative. So positive times a negative is a negative, so it's going to be minus 6. And then you look, can you combine 2x and 6? No, they're not like terms, so then that is your final answer. Okay. Now this one, similar, but now we have a negative 2 that we have to distribute. So negative 2 times x would give us negative 2x. And then negative 2 times this negative 3, 2 negatives multiplied make positive, and 2 times 3 is 6. Can I combine those? No, they do not have the same terms or same variables. So negative 2x plus 6 is my final answer. Then you're going to see problems here that have 2 distributive properties. So we're going to work on the first one, x times x. When you multiply the same letters together, that gets squared. X times x is x squared. It's not 2x, it's x squared. And then x times 5, that would be a positive 5x. So when you multiply a number by a variable, that is, so 5 times x is 5x. But when you multiply 2 variables together, it's x squared. Then negative 3 times x would be a negative 3x. And negative 3 times a positive 2 would be a negative 6. Then we look to see if we can combine like terms. We have an x squared. There's no other ones of that, so we're going to bring that down. Then we have this positive 5x and this negative 3x. So 5 minus 3 is positive 2x's, and then negative 6 is all by itself, so we bring that down to have our simplified answer. Another one that's similar to that. Negative 4 times 2 is negative 8. Negative 4 times x would be negative 4x. Negative 2 times x would be negative 2x. And negative 2 times 3 would be a negative 6. Then we have to go through and combine like terms. I have negative 8 and negative 6 that are constants. So negative 8 minus 6 would be negative 14. And then a negative 4x and a negative 2x would make a negative 6x. And then I have all the like terms combined, and that's my final answer. All right, this is a long one. So I see the distributive property here, so I'm going to go ahead and simplify that first. So 2 times x would be 2x. and 2 times y would be 2y. So now this is gone and we have 2x plus 2y there. So now let's go through and find everything that has an x. So I have 1x and I have negative 8x and a positive 2x. So 1 minus 8 would be negative 7. Negative 7 plus 2 would be negative 5x's. So we've taken care of the x's. Then let's look for an x times y or a y times x. So I have that one and I have that one. So remember this is 1. 1 minus 6 would be negative 5 and xy's. Then I have these y's. I have a 7y and a positive 2y. So 7 plus 2 is positive 9y. And I have combined everything that's in that long expression, and that's my final answer. All right, so x times x is x squared. X times 5 is 5x. Negative 3 times x is negative 3x. And negative 3 times 2 is negative 6. X squared is the only squared, so that gets brought down for our answer. I have plus 5x and negative 3x for x's, so 5 minus 3 is a positive 2x. And then I have negative 6 all by itself, so that gets brought down to be part of my answer. And now I have simplified the expression.